Hey, good morning, friends. Jeff here from Bygone. You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice this morning. I'm going to do an undercarriage video on this absolutely gorgeous 96 Bronco that we just turned 20,000 original miles with last night during our ride-along video. Again, I like to be completely transparent with every vehicle I sell. So it's important that we get underneath these cars and trucks and really look things over. A reminder, the truck was sold new out of Duluth, Minnesota. And I honestly can't think of an F-150 or Bronco of this era that was sold here in the Midwest that wasn't undercoated, at the dealership. So keep in mind, the truck's been undercoated. However, I want to make it really clear that I didn't do any fluffing under here. There's been no additional undercoat added, no touch-ups or anything like that. I'll always state that if I do that on a car or truck. And it'll be really obvious on this one that everything is 26 years old. You can see the fade in the undercoat, and you can see different remnants of in this case on the brake line where there's a little tag that hung down that was covering the where the undercoating went. So I always think that stuff is cool. What else did I know what I wanted to share with you right away is this truck did come with the factory tow package. So, it has the Ford wiring here, and again, you can see, where the undercoating, spritzed up. You can see just a titch of it there on the corner of the bumper, but you can see how it, it kind of checkers over the years. Truck is incredibly dry, but it is worth noting that you get, like on the hitch, you get just a little bit here of flaking of the paint. And then I'll show you another spot when we get up there with just a little bit of bubbling of the paint on one of the step tube brackets. But otherwise, as we look at the rear leaf springs, and we'll take a look at the hangers and stuff, everything is bone dry on this truck. See, we've got a paint dab there on the drive shaft along with the factory part number decal. The Borg Warner transfer case on these were tough as nails. I feel like those were really good transfer cases on these old trucks. Got an identification tag there. Again, plating is nice and bright. Catalytic converter shield, is really nice. A lot of times those get super crummy. Muffler looks good. You can see, we're just starting to show a little discoloration here in the back, but again, nothing that is, that's going to, be in need of replacement or anything like that. As we move over along the frame rail, have the original fuel filter here, and again, transfer case got spritzed with undercoating as well. You can see up on top where they go in to do the rest of the floorboard, so that the very top edge of the transfer case gets it. But then if you lift up on the fuel filter bracket, you can see just a little bit underneath there of that original Ford stenciling on it. So again, I mention all this just to make folks comfortable. I've owned I mean, I know some of you guys have owned 100 of these trucks, but I've probably owned 30 or 40. And so I just try to point out everything that I notice. All right, factory step tubes. Driver's side over here, absolutely gorgeous. No issues. I just turned the light on here so you can see a little better. Again, undercoating, everything looks fantastic. We've got just a little bit of surface rust where maybe some undercoating fell off there. Rest looks terrific. The passenger side has the same, but I feel like it's this passenger side that is always a little bit worse. Even on the southern and western trucks that I've owned, I feel like it's this passenger side tube right in here that starts to, sometimes get some scale and things like that. Again, nothing to be concerned about or anything like that. But again, on a vehicle like this, I want to point out everything that I'm seeing. As we're moving along, got at the bottom of the tranny pan there, and again, you can see where the undercoat, just kind of spritzes in a couple areas. Same there on the front cat shield. Got a little moisture here and over here. I just changed the oil. And those of you with 351s know that it's a freaking mess. This is the worst design ever. Getting that oil filter out is always a pain, and there's just oil that ends up everywhere. So that's what that is from. What I want to point out is on the floor here, it's completely dry. When we got back from our ride-along video last night, I put the truck up on the ramps here on the rack because I knew I'd be doing this video this morning, and there wasn't a drip overnight. Now, I do include a photo in the listing that shows where the truck sits typically, and quite honestly, I can say that the truck, prior to getting it ready for sale here, it had been started, but I don't think it had moved for probably two or 3 months. And so in that photo, you'll see, a dribble there, maybe the size of a quarter. And again, I mention this because I know folks are going to ask me about the rear main. They're going to ask me about the oil pan. I think everything's good. I point out that, after driving the truck last night, nothing is on the floor, because I feel like if you drive the truck and you allow those seals to swell, you're fine. But if the truck's going to sit for months and months, yeah, expect that it's going to drip a little bit. But again, nothing where, I'm saying, holy cow, what, the rear main is shot or anything like that. Hell, I'm not even certain where those drips are coming from. I mean, I noticed before I changed the oil, there was a drop of oil coming off the bottom of the plug. So maybe that seal, over the course of months could certainly create what we're seeing. Moving along, gang, other points of interest that I just think are super cool to look at. You've got those factory brake hoses up there that are date coded. I always think that stuff is super cool. Front axle has some markings here on the back. Some factory tags there on the brake line. And, oh, hey, this is, usually there's that cross member or that suspension tag, that ID tag that's usually here, and that's covered by the undercoating. That might be kind of fun to super carefully remove the undercoating and reveal that tag. Passenger side, much of the same. Scooting up here, I did grease the front suspension as well. You just have the the tie rod ends and the steering linkage Factory ball joints on these trucks don't have Zerk fittings. Again, back behind the rear bumper. Frame extensions up in front look fantastic. Again, no excuses. Super, super honest Bronco. What just went through my mind is, why are you selling this one? You know, you don't have to sell them all. Here, Jeff, you can keep some of these. And nice and dry. For those of you who are from out west or down south, even though these trucks up north here, you know, are kept in garages, this truck wasn't kept in a climate controlled building, and so you get freeze thaws. You end up with moisture on the ground and things like that, and so that's what causes just that little bit, you know, of surface scale that you get on just a couple pieces. And again, it's not widespread. It isn't anything that I'm feeling like really detracts from the vehicle, but I point it out because we're talking about an investment grade truck, and so I want folks to know every inch, as the buyer will probably buy the truck sight unseen. Moving back here to the rear, again, you know, hangers back behind the rear bumper, everything is dry. Gonna go ahead and scoot out here for a sec. Show you a few odds and ends from underneath. Let me turn there we go. Again, just worth pointing out how nice and dry this truck is. Going into the passenger wheel well, again, we've got frame mounts, we've got spring hangers here, rear wheel wells. All those welds look gorgeous. No bubbling, no rust. Truck has not been painted. This is factory Ford paint. We'll go over some details in the exterior walk around video. Looks like we've got a factory tag on the back of the spring there, which is always really cool. Let's go around to the driver's side. Again, much of the same. Rear wheel well. Factory steps. Something else worth pointing out is this foam gasket that they put between the steps and the bottom of the rockers. Normally that really starts to deteriorate, and you can see how nice and pliable all of that is. And again, I mentioned this because I just want people to be comfortable with the miles on the truck, that it is a true 20,000 mile survivor. This isn't something that's been futzed with or anything like that. You know, here's a small detail. You know, I always loved this little detail here on the bottoms of the doors that they added for 95 and 96. I just think that looks really cool. Again, we'll point out a few more things in the exterior walk around, but I just caught, we've got just a small imperfection of the paint there on that driver's side front fender. Moving in to the driver's front wheel well. Again, we got another factory tag back over there. Another factory tag, here on the front spring as well, which is cool. It's cool. This truck is something else, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave you with this view. If you've been looking for a unique 92 to 96 Bronco Survivor, I think this is about as unique as it gets. It's a 351 powered sport package truck, which is just so cool, especially in today's age where folks really like blacking things out. I mean, it just goes to show Ford was doing this stuff back in the 90s. One owner truck. Please take a look at the other videos. Take a look at my photos. Anything that you would have questions on, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer anything I can. I'm Jeff from Bygone in beautiful Mazomania, Wisconsin. Please let us know if we can help anyway. Take care. Thanks.